Hi everyone, hope everybody's having a great day. I guess I want to talk a little bit about, in 2024, we ended up racing the Subaru BRZs. So these are 2023 Subaru BRZs. They had their regular motor, it wasn't changed, but we did put turbos on them. You can see here with the intercooler and the intake. So we had basically these brakes here, these Wilwood brakes we changed on them, as well as we ended up putting standard suspensions coilovers. You can see those right there, front and back. We also had a rear wing on it, rear diffuser, and in the front we had the splitter. The big thing on the car is it ran really, really well. It was fully equipped. So right now you see there's a cage, but that's just brand new. But I want to talk about in 2024. So we were running 267 horsepower at the wheels. At our racetrack, we were running a 225. It was the fastest we ended up doing. So then after that, in the fall, we decided to take the cars and transform them. So you can see the cars here. So we ended up putting a roll cage, so full road cage, as well as what we're going to do is we're going to end up putting a fuel cell. So we're going to go with a fuel cell. We got the roll cage in the car. You can see it's all fully gutted. Also, at the same time, what we're going to do is these are the original tires that we ran on the vehicle. These are 245 on an 8.5 inch rim, and we're going to go to these things, these beasts. So these are 295/30 R18s, much bigger than these tires. But you can see though that it causes a problem because they're very, very wide compared to the body. So we have to go to a wide body kit. So what we ended up doing is we bought the Sayber Design GR86 kit for these Subaru BRZs. What that's going to allow us to do is to have basically a much wider stance on the vehicle with much wider tires. But we do have to cut the wheel wells because you can see here that's just not going to work. Same thing with the front. So we got to do some cutting. We got to do all kinds of things to the car. Hopefully it'll end up making things a lot better on the vehicle. The other big thing is this is the original front that we had, front bumper, and we had to change it to our GR86. The big difference between a Subaru BRZ and actually a GR86 is actually the bumper in the front. So the bumper in the front is what makes the big difference between these vehicles. And in our case, in order for the kit to work, we have to go to this GR86. It actually works out really, really well for us to go with this GR86 because if you notice, the front area on this thing is a lot bigger than the actual Subaru. The Subaru one's a lot smaller. We were running into heat issues. So hopefully this is actually going to help because it's much bigger. That's the idea and that's what we're hoping. The vehicles are going to be running a forged motor. We're going to be moving from the regular NA. It's going to be turboed again, but this time we're going to be using forged components in order to push much higher. The idea is to try and reach 475 horsepower to the wheels, but we're actually going to be running 3 separate tunes. The great thing about the ECU that we have, we can actually run 3 separate tunes on it. We're going to have a 267 like our regular one, then we're also going to have a 325, and of course we're going to have the all-out tune, which is going to be the 475. All of our tuning and all of the engine work and even the cage work here, the stripping of the interior was all done by Lachute Performance, one of our sponsors. Once we have the car all kitted out here, what we're going to do is we're going to put a livery on it, which is going to be done by a wrap factory. The cars are all set and ready to go. We're going to be shipping it off and hopefully it'll look really, really kind of cool when we reveal it to everybody. So the kit is fully unpacked. So I basically want to make sure that you guys didn't have to waste your time watching me try and unpack because there's a lot of stuff here. And here it is. So this is actually the new hood compared to the old hood. This is the old hood, which was a Street Hunter hood. Again, it wasn't extracting enough hot air, so we wanted something better. In this case, we ended up running this now. We're going to put this on the automobile. It actually comes, you can order it with a Sayber Design GR86 kit. It's got a lot more venting on it, which is great. And then here's, if you look at all the parts, these are all the parts that came in all of those boxes. So it's actually, so far, it's a very complete kit. You can see here the rear fenders. And the great thing is they actually made a hole there for the rear fender where you can still keep your stock gas cap So that's what I was worried about, is that the one on the site shows it where you actually don't have it. So basically you'd have to somehow do some body work to close it. But the kit came with that cut out. So now that saves me a lot of time to have to sit there and do some work to try and close that off. Because if you look at where the gas cap is, that's where the fender is going to ride. So it's wonderful to see that they actually sit there and incorporate it in the fender, so I don't have to do that kind of work. That's fantastic, but these are all the parts. I didn't open some of these other boxes. I just wanted to give you an appreciation of what it actually all looks like. There's two kits here. This is the new rear wing compared to the old one. So this is the new wing. It's a GT style wing, so much bigger than the other one. There's a front splitter, again, much bigger than the Verus one. We want to definitely have a lot more aero than we had before, because we're going to be pushing 475 horse now with these forged engines. We're still using the 2.4 liter direct injection engines that come with the 2023 BRZ, but because we're trying to push a lot more horsepower, we're going to end up using forged components into the engine, and the engines are going to be all overhauled by Lachute Performance, one of our sponsors. So that's fantastic. So stay tuned as we sit there and split these things up into the two separate cars, and then start doing the work to put them on these beautiful Subaru BRZs. Hey everyone, so thank you for joining us on Losier Motorsports. One of the things we want to make sure we talk about today is the Sayber Design body kit for the Subaru BRZ. So this is our original Subaru BRZs that we have. So this is actually what it looks like. And now this is when it's finished. This is what it actually looks like. So this is the Sayber Design kit when it's finished. But what we're going to do is we're going to show you how you get from this to that. So how that starts, here you have Don, who's going to talk to us about some of the beginning things we need to worry about.
Well, the very first thing is the front nose on the Subaru. The shape is not suitable for the Sayber Design dam that you put on under, just over the splitter. And so, new nose cone, essentially. It's a new GR86 nose cone. And we do have to do a couple of transfers, like one transfer of the inside, stabilizing pieces underneath that connect the nose cone and the frame. Then we're going to remove those and we're going to install them on the nose, on the new nose for the GR86. Now the reason that we've decided to go with the Sayber Design kit, we're going with a new set of tires. When we put that on, we need to actually cut these fenders out. On this one, we'll be doing the same. This needs to be removed and cutting this all the way down. Inside, we're going to be doing some work to make sure that we address some of the structural pieces that are in the way of the tires. So we'll end up bending these, essentially. Not a safety issue or anything, just a matter of trying to get that out of the way. When we're done, we're going to be putting sort of a half of the fender well back in. In the back, we'll put the full fender well back in.
So why would we do that?
Well, we run in the rain every so often, and whenever you do the welding on the inside here, because this is like a double skin essentially, you can seal that for sure, but there's still bolt holes and different things that have been opened up. And so by putting the fender well back in, you actually prevent a lot of that moisture from getting inside. Inside the fender at the front is very wide open in these corners, both sides. And so rather than having, a bunch of moisture ingressing here, fouling up anything inside the car, we're going to try to, get a portion of this cut so that we can cover this off, essentially. We will be putting a side splitter here.
So you can see here, basically on the Sayber Design on the finished automobile, what it looks like. This is the side skirt splitter.
There's a lot to direct the air over, the body properly. We opted for these hoods simply because we get a lot more heat removal with the 3-wide vents. When we get to the back, there is a wing that actually goes on here. We haven't installed the wing yet, but we'll show you how to do that. Depending on how much turbulence we get, we may have to do further modifications to, get everything to streamline properly. We don't have a wind tunnel, so what we use is just wool yarn and just run the system, essentially on a trailer or something like that, to be able to see what it's like, at speed, essentially, to see how the air flows over it. But yeah, if you look along the sides, this is very, 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 very neat. Tires stay inside, no turbulence will be manifested, I guess, as a result of that. You know, having the tires all the way up on both sides of this.
Cool. Awesome. I guess it's going to be pitter patter and let's get at her. So this car right now is actually ready to go for the wrap. So we're going to be sending that out in the next couple of days to go get it all wrapped up. And then we're going to videotape what it looks like after that. And then after that. So we're going to be working on this one right now, and we're going to go into the details after learning on that one. Some of the intricacies of things we need to do in order to be able to make this body kit fit.
All right, so we have all the pieces laid out. The first thing to go on the car will be the nose, or the front bumper. Underneath the front bumper will go the front lip, and then of course the splitter underneath that. This is simply an edging for it. What we've done is we've laid out all of the parts in the way that they're going to be, you know, laid out on the car. Essentially, you have, you know, left-hand side, right-hand side, fenders, front, back, the components going at the rear, the diffuser, and then the wing at the rear. There's a bunch of brackets and things, and we'll get into those in a little bit more detail. The thing that we're going to install today will be these side splitters. Once we've opened them up, we put them over here. We fit underneath the car in this location. We've had to put some riv nuts in the body. I don't know if you can see that there. What we've had to do is we've had to take the side splitter from another kit, and what we did is we put that up here, up against here, drilled some holes through here so that we can, you know, put some M6, about 25 mil bolts through there, and hold this. On top of this board will sit the side splitter. And the way that that will actually fit, we put the outside fender here. Once we have the front nose piece in place, the outside fender comes to this height, and then there's another piece that sits on top here. And what we do is we align all of these pieces together so that the wind or the airflow will be right over the tire, the rim, essentially, without really, you know, impacting on it, and the slide nice and straight through. We'll make sure that this is out wide enough so that it matches up with the rear as well. So this is, you know, all part of how you do the measurement, essentially, so that you end up with a straight front to back and, you know, an even width on both sides, essentially. All right, so what I want to show is the finished product on this car in terms of being able to put the kit on, because this is a BRZ and it's a GR86 kit. There are certain adaptations that have to happen. The important piece to start from is the bottom splitter. Now, if you look at the alignment from the rear to the front fender, you'll see that this edge, that edge of the splitter, all the way through here, this is all aligned. And so in order for that to happen, you got to get this board properly installed and aligned underneath, then you can put the fenders on. So it's a bit of custom work to be able to test fit your fender with this and this guy, as well as with the back fender. Once this line is established, then you can go ahead and finish the work. I'm going to show you on this car that the way that we adapted this is we put this board underneath. This was an old splitter that we had, and we used it as a bit of a backing board for the carbon fiber piece that goes on top. And so, you know, on the BRZ, these bolts, we put riv nuts underneath through the body and the plastic works, and then we were able to screw this board in place, then measured carbon fiber piece so that it actually lined up with the fenders, essentially front and back. So that gave us, you know, the ability to adjust this just fine. Then we screwed carbon fiber splitter to this board underneath. Technically, you could probably just take a piece of melamine or, you know, plywood or something like that to be able to build one of these and put it underneath your car, offset it, you know, in terms of cut so that you can get your seam, you know, for jacking if you have a jack. There's a bit of trimming that we have to do at the back and in the front, you know, for the carbon fiber piece to be able to fit the body properly. This will be cut to this length. There's no reason why it needs to be out this far. But once that's done, then the installation can start with respect to the fenders, front and rear. Okay? That's it.